sometimes God doesn't come through in the way we expect him. It doesn't mean he doesn't exist. It means we have opportunity to wait, to see what God is doing, and to ask God to reveal himself in the midst of that, and to glorify himself, even in the midst of our darkness and our despair. He says, I am telling you this now, before it takes place, so that when it does take place, you may believe that I am. Jesus is giving here a primary motivation of why predictive prophecy exists, why that category is given to us. It is given to us by God as a primary category of evidence for our minds to receive. This is truth. God has predicted it in time. It comes to fruition. That should point us to believe in God. We wonder, when people experience abuse like that at that level from their spiritual leader, no wonder they wonder if they can continue to believe what they've been taught. What's a remedy for this? Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another. By this will all people know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Jesus has just said this in the context of, I'm going to be leaving you, and where I go, you can't come. So they could be wondering, what are we going to do without you? The answer, love people. How are we going to live without you, apart from you? By loving other people. What's love look like? Just what you have experienced the last 3 years from being with me. Continue to do that. Live like that. What you have experienced, pass that on to others. Be Jesus to others, marked by love. Practical demonstrations that they have experienced of Jesus' compassion, of his empathy, of his listening, of his teaching, of his care and concern, of his giving, of his meeting of needs, of his sacrifice, of his relational intimacy, of his graciousness, of his acceptance. All of these things the disciples had experienced from Jesus. Hopefully we have experienced at least some of these through Jesus and through the people of God. These are the things he's calling us to live out. Love in this way, this new standard, just as I have loved you. We are primarily not to be known for the things that we are against. We are not primarily to be known for the things that we oppose. We're not primarily to be known by the things we don't participate in. We're still to have convictions. We are still to live lives of righteous purity. But our holiness, literally our distinctiveness, our uniqueness, is to be a demonstration of love. Literally, of the love of God to us, the love of God in us, and then through us. First of all, toward one another in the body, and then toward outsiders. Jesus is saying the best relational experiential evidence that you can provide to the world that I exist and that you are mine is that you love one another. It's the chief command from Jesus. It's the thing that should most define us above everything else. It's the first thing that unbelievers should see. It's not what they're presently talking about. That script needs to change, and it needs to change with us. Wouldn't it be phenomenal if, like in Tertullian's day, those who oppose the church, a hostile society around us, we might feel, but if they said, man, you got to give them one thing, they love each other. Their love is incredible. We cannot deny that they are marked by love. We don't agree with things, but man, do they love. They lead with love. They love us. We don't get it. We hate them. They love us. Blows us away. Blows our minds. How do we get from here to there? I am asking myself this question. Is love the most distinguishing characteristic in my life? And I got to say, you know what? Historically, usually, yeah, probably not. But I want it to be. And it needs to become. It needs to become. The big point for today, in an age of apostasy, demonstrating love is what reveals that God is truly among us. In closing, I want to speak again to those of you who might be on this spectrum of considering deconstruction or deconversion. I want to offer hope. There have been a lot of failures. There have been embarrassing, tragic abuses of authority, of power, of finances, of sexuality. And the consequences are severe. The worst is the reputation of Christ that has been damaged in this. How do we restore this? We restore it through love, but we want to just acknowledge if you're struggling with this, we get it. I get it. It's real. We're not going to deny it. We don't want to cover it up. Hypocrisy abounds, and there are leaders who do things that damage people. And we are so sorry. And we want to say that does not represent Christ. That is not what we're about. It's a failure to represent Christ. It might make you feel like or wonder, is it all a sham? Is it unreal? No, we fall short. Jesus is real. Don't look at us. Together we will stand with you and look toward Jesus.